Que lo que. The Dominican African American is back with another video. Glad to be back, and today I'm talking to you about what happened, what I experienced after 200 days straight of using Duolingo. Okay, Duolingo. It's a Spanish studying app, and I was introduced to it a few years ago. Actually, I just never was consistent like I have been this year. The language Spanish, of course. I started studying it more seriously this year, and it's been 200 days of consistent use. All right, but there are a few things that I want to touch on before I get to the video. First things first, they're very consistent focus and streak focus. So as long as you can complete a lesson, they're gonna go and charge it to your or add it to your streak. So there was some times where I only did a lesson that lasted about 5 minutes, and then there was times where I was on the app for an hour straight, and a few hours a day actually. So there was days where I didn't feel like doing it, and I only did a lesson, and boom, it was still added to my streak. You know what I mean? So I wanted to make that clear. Also, there's a part in this video where I added and supplemented other sources that I also use with Duolingo. Okay, so yeah, I just want to share a couple things that I experienced because of 200 consistent days of Duolingo studying. But before I begin, I have to mention the Airbnb gift card giveaway. We're giving out 5. 3 slots have already been fulfilled. There's only, or no, 2 spots have already been fulfilled. There's only 3 spots left. To enter, all you gotta do is comment on the video, all right, and you'll be entered. If you want a guaranteed slot, all you gotta do is share the video to your story or to your feed, doesn't matter, and just tag me in it. If you don't wanna do that, you can head on over to the traveling merch shop, pick up some traveling merch, and you'll be guaranteed a slot that way. All right, so without further ado, let's get straight to it. Okay, now look, 200 days straight is impressive. All right, a lot of people don't get that far. You'll definitely notice some progress. All right, now one of the, I guess the obvious things that I've experienced was increased vocabulary. Now I got my coffee here, excuse me. And I'm near my window again for the new setup because it's getting chilly out there. Before I would go outside, you know what I mean? But I'm inside now, it's chilly out there, I don't like the cold. But look, increased vocabulary. Now, you're still gonna be at a basic level, okay? As far as the chart is concerned, you got A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2, which is fluent, okay? So you got your beginner, intermediate, advanced, all right? After 200 days straight of just Duolingo, you're still gonna be at pretty much basic beginner level, all right? A2 is sort of elementary. Depending on how long your sessions are, you could be at a night at an A2 level. I'm about a few units away from being at an A2 elementary level, but expect to be still at a basic level if you're just doing Duolingo. Okay, you're gonna have about 2,000 words, maybe 1,000 to 2,000 words. This isn't just verbs or nouns. I'm talking just basic words. It could be it, is, the, you know what I mean? Basic words. So you'll be about at 1,000 to 2,000 words, okay? And there'll be everyday life words, survival words, food, water, clothes, store, happy, sad, sick, no, yes, basic survival words that you'll need if you're going to a Hispanic country, okay? And I've noticed the vocabulary increase, all right? Next, you're gonna have a stronger grammar foundation. It is still, again, it'll still be basic, it'll still be elementary at best, okay? But you will have a decent understanding of present tense. Now on Duolingo, around the A2, like high A1 to A2, they're gonna start incorporating past and future tense, okay? Right now, it's where I'm at, it's a lot of past tense, which is completely new for me. It's throwing me a curveball. It's kind of like learning a language within learning a language. All right, but you will have a pretty strong foundation on present tense. All right, and you'll still find, complex grammar like, subjunctives and reflectives and things like that. You'll still have a hard time with that. But again, as far as present tense is concerned, you'll be good for the most part. And complex grammar, you'll still have a hard time with that. All right. Another thing that I've noticed after 200 days of studying Duolingo which is what I like to think my strongest skill with Spanish so far is reading. Okay. Like when it comes to reading simple sentences or short paragraphs, you're going to feel a lot better because you're going to be so familiar with reading it from the app. Like the app, you do a lot of reading. It's a lot of reading. So when you start seeing, these words and these sentences on other apps, on other platforms, you're going to be like, oh, okay, I know what that is. I know what that is. You're going to be able to pretty much put those words together and assume the context of what you're reading. Okay. And you'll be able to understand, like I said, social media posts, basic news headlines, minus the slang words though, because Duolingo doesn't really throw in a lot of slang words. You're going to get a lot of cliches and phrases, but they're not throwing in adelante, adelante. You know what I mean? They're not throwing in vaina. So when you see those words on Instagram or Twitter or wherever platform you're on, that'll still throw you a loop or a curveball. But for the most part, you're going to get the basic words and be able to recognize them. All right. Next, a thing that will, or at least for me, has caused me some frustration was the listening comprehension. Okay. Duolingo doesn't really put a lot of emphasis on listening. They just, if you got the gold plan or the platinum plan, whatever it's called, like the subscription of the highest one. They do have a joint where Lily calls you and you're communicating with her that way. They have certain segments where you're listening to the radio guy or the girl that's hosting a radio station where you can improve your listening comprehension. But what caused a lot of frustration for me is where I'm at in my Spanish is hearing Spanish being spoken and only being able to pick out words and not being able to figure out what they're talking about. So let's just say they're speaking and I can hear them say something about todo lo dia, every day, right? Or cada dia, every day. I don't know what they're talking about every day. I can hear yo no tengo, dime a ver. I can hear these things and be like, okay, I know what that is. But what are they talking about? You know what I mean? Temprano. Okay, I heard temprano, but I don't know what they're talking about. So you're going to find yourself in that dilemma where it's like, I heard that. I know that word. But what the fuck are they talking about? And because you're consuming so much Spanish, you want to know and be able to put the words that you do know together. But unfortunately, at the level that we're at, after 200 days, it's just not enough to be able to put, everything together. Okay, so for me, it's been a little frustrating, but it's also rewarding to know that, all right, I know he just said escuela or escuela. I know he just said mañana. I know he just said sábado. You know what I mean? Like, you'll be able to hear what is being said, just not what they talking about. So, and of course, fast-paced conversations you can forget about it. Especially if it's of a different dialect that you're studying. So most of my input is either from Mexican Spanish or Dominican Spanish. Dominican Spanish on YouTube and on Instagram and social media, but Mexican Spanish with like LingoPod. You know what I mean? Mexican Spanish or Spaniard Spanish with certain channels that's meant to teach. Whereas the Dominican Spanish, I don't really come across a lot of channels that are teaching Dominican Spanish. So when they're speaking fast, like you know that it's a challenge, okay? But the best way for that is, passive listening. That'll bridge the gap a lot. And having someone to explain things and doing it over, repeat. It's all about just absorbing, just keep absorbing. You know what I mean? And 200 days is nowhere near like 4 or 5 years that a baby has of just listening. So you gotta expect that. All right. Next, one thing that I noticed is confidence when it comes to speaking basic phrases. So you're gonna have more confidence saying good morning, saying hello. You know what I mean? You're gonna have more confidence saying that you're tired or you want some food or just what you know, the basics that you know. You're gonna be more confident getting your ideas out. Okay, you'll be able to hold basic conversations. You'll be able to introduce yourself. You'll be able to talk about your hobbies, your interests, your foods. You'll be able to ask for directions. Es la tienda derecha o izquierda? Derecho? Oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like, you'll be able to you'll be comfortable getting basic thoughts out. All right. Now, when you're speaking to a native speaker, they will be able to tell that you're not fluent. All right. They will be able to. So this might make them speak English if they know English, or speak a little slower if they don't know English. Okay. But they will know that, all right, he's not fluent or she's not fluent. Okay. Hold on. All right. And you're also going to struggle with like spontaneous and more complex conversations. You know what I mean? So I remember when I was in the DR, the last time I was in the DR, actually, there was something that they were talking about the room. So with Duolingo, I know about, you know, dormitorio, baño, cocina, silla, like basic stuff, but I don't know what they're talking about. Like when they were speaking about the air conditioner, I don't know what they were saying about the air conditioner specifically, okay? Because I didn't come across air conditioner in Duolingo. When they were talking about the toilet, I didn't know you could use baño for toilet, you know what I mean? Caca, Duolingo's not talking about caca, you know what I mean? So I didn't know what the hell they was talking about. So when it's more complex, you're still going to have difficulty. But again, when it comes to, and that's when it's about understanding, but when it comes to getting your needs out and what you need, you'll be just fine. Another thing about, you know, confidence when it comes to speaking simple phrases is, look, I connected with more people. I made new friends at work. All right. I made people laugh. You know what I mean? When I was in the DR and I was getting my thoughts off, you know, some of them laughed at my accent, or what we were talking about made them laugh. I even had a girlfriend, you know what I mean? Because of the Spanish that I did know. Now, granted, she knew more English than I knew Spanish, but the fact that we had something in common was dope. So you're definitely going to gain connections because of your interest with Spanish and your level of Spanish that you do know. All right. Next, at 200 days of studying Duolingo, you're going to have an increased motivation. So again, I can't stress it enough. 200 days is a lot. Okay. A lot of people don't even make it that far. And you're going to be able to find it easier to study. You're going to have a routine that you're in. And at that point, you're going to probably start supplementing with other sources. All right. Which brings me to my next point. In Duolingo, especially when you start supplementing, you're going to hit a plateau where you're going to be like, damn, like this shit is going to take long. Because look, they have these segments that are like 5 minutes long each. Each segment is probably like 10 different chapters or 8 different chapters in each segment. You know what I mean? And it's just getting you to maybe from A1 to A1, from low A1 to high A1, from high A1 to A2, from A2 to B1, B1 to B. So like you're gonna start looking at how long it could take, and that might make you feel like there's a plateau, especially when you're still not understanding. So don't let that deter you. This is common, especially when it comes to learning language apps. At the end of the day, it's a business. They want to get your money. So maybe they could progress things a little bit quicker. But this is just how it is. This is how it works. Okay? But that's why you do supplement it with other resources. I believe this is a fantastic source. Now, I have a myriad of other books that I use, some specific around Dominican Spanish, others specific around verbs, like you name it, okay? But having a good, complete start to finish book, I think is vital right now. And look, I'm on chapter 6, okay? I'm on chapter 6. We're talking about irregular verbs right now. You're not even on past tense and all of this other stuff. Irregular verbs. Supplementing Duolingo with a workbook is priceless. Supplement Duolingo with a workbook. That's how you do it. Okay, now, this is all conscious input. Duolingo and your workbook is conscious input. Okay, you still want to have some passive inputs. So that's where you might have a podcast that's all in Spanish that you're just taking in. You know what I mean? You're not necessarily focused on what they're saying, but you're taking it in. You can have something on YouTube. You're just taking it in. And I know it can get annoying and frustrating. It's like, I don't know what the fuck they're saying, but you're just taking it in. But then that's passive. Then you got active input. That's where you're literally stopping, playing, pausing, playing, rewinding, trying to understand and hear what they're saying, slowing it down, speeding it up. Active. You could do like an hour a day of just active listening. You could do an hour a day of passive listening. And then you do an hour a day of Duolingo and an hour a day of your textbook. Okay? Things like that. You're going to develop a routine. But after 200 days, you're going to start feeling like there's a plateau. And that's the perfect time to, at the very least, incorporate a workbook. You know what I mean? And if, you know, you can start talking to people whenever you want. I know some think that you should try to get the basics underway first, but you can start talking right away. All right, but again, don't let that plateau deter you from anything. Get you a workbook, get you some inputs. Now, the outputs, very important, okay? When you're on Duolingo, there's moments for you to repeat what is telling you to say and say aloud what it's telling you to say. Take advantage of those. I know they give you an option to skip, but take advantage of those. Take advantage of when Lily calls and you talking back to her. Take advantage of reading aloud while you're doing your workbook, reading aloud. All right. Take advantage of when you're doing your passive listening to pick out some words or some phrases that you hear, just say it aloud. All right. Over time, it'll add up. But you definitely want to incorporate some output exercises, okay, where you're just speaking it. Even if it doesn't make sense, you're just speaking it. Just say what you know. Say the words you're learning. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be just, all right, I'm going to dedicate 1 hour today just so I can speak the Spanish that I know. You can do that while you're reading. So like the irregular verbs, saber, saber. You don't have to read it and just keep it in your head. You can say, saber, yo sé, tú sabes, usted sabe. You know what I mean? Nosotros sabemos. You could just say it aloud while you're doing your input. Okay? Moving on. My struggles that I've had is, again, I'm still struggling with translating what's being said. So when they say something, I go straight to translate. All right. And then it's fast. So now I'm like, all right, I just forgot what the fuck the first word was. It takes me a second. I'm still struggling with translating as far as what I need to get out. You know what I mean? So I'm still struggling with that. Past tense and reflexives are fucking me up right now. Slang is fucking me up right now. I'm struggling with that. Speed. When they speak, like when they're speaking fast, it's messing me up because I was like, you can only say despacio but so many times. You know what I mean? Vocabulary. Again, it's been 200 days. The vocabulary is still, you know, it's not the richest vocabulary. I mean, it's still early. Like I said, you're a beginner. The dialects. I got podcasts that's in Chilean Spanish, Colombian Spanish, Dominican Spanish. When you got your translator on Netflix, on some of the YouTube stuff, it's Spaniard or Mexican Spanish. Like, the dialects has messed me up, and the combination and cutting of words. So like with words, a lot of certain countries, they'll cut the end of certain words. So like with how are you in Dominican Spanish, como tú estás hoy, you know what I mean? They're cutting off words and the sections of the word. So como estás tú, they're saying como tú estás hoy. Like they're like, so that's messed me up. Combining the endings of certain words, making it kind of sound like one word, is messing me up. So those are the struggles that I'm still having, still to today. That's why a lot of my words of the week or my nouns that I upload that I do learn, I have easy and simple sentences to go with them, because more complex sentences are still a challenge for me. And last but not least, the confidence. All right, this is probably, I said my struggles. Now this is kind of like the reward part. Like my confidence when it comes to traveling to another country or getting an idea across to someone who speaks Spanish. So like you could be in a line and the person doesn't speak Spanish, but the person working does. You being able to help them. If you go to another country, you being able to get your ideas across. Like you're not gonna fucking starve in a Spanish country after 200 days of Duolingo. I promise you, okay? Like, you'll be way more comfortable navigating basic interactions, all right? And you'll be surprised that locals will understand you. So, that does it for today. Duolingo, again, there was some days where it was an hour, there was some days where it was 5 minutes, some days where it was 30 minutes. Like, even if you skip a day, depending on how many cold points you have, they will pretty much give you that day. Like, look, we know shit happens. You know what I mean? Boom, it's cool. You kept your streak. I had about maybe 4 of those in 200 days. So, but yeah, I would say stick with 30 minutes to an hour. The hour is the easiest because it's simple. It's just boom, 1 hour. And supplement Duolingo with other resources. Get you a workbook, okay? And yeah, but this is where I'm at with it. So I'll give you an example of some of the things that I learned. Como tú estás hoy? Me levanto temprano. And this is not like a form of sentence. This is just basic stuff. Anything that comes to mind, okay? There's no rules. It doesn't have to make sense. Yo tengo trabajo mañana. I made a video on that. Yo tengo una novia. Me gusta libros. What else? Mi día favorita de la semana es sábado. Me encanta comida. Yo necesito agua. Yo necesito comer. Yo quiero más dinero. Let's see, what else? Yo estoy cansado. Yo tengo muchos amigos. ¿Quién? ¿Dónde? ¿Cuándo? You know your days of the week. Lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes, sábado, domingo. ¿Cuándo volverás? Like a bunch of stuff. I'm not gonna go through 2,000 words that I learned, but it's a bunch. You know what I mean? Baño, ducha, izquierda, empacado, derecha, derecho, arriba, bajo, comer, caminar, correr, abrir, a bunch of stuff. Puedes, puedo, pueden. It's a bunch of stuff, okay? So you'll be able to put what you know together with other words. It's just more manual as automatic. Like you have to like still, I gotta put this word with this and then that and then form the sentence and then try to remember the sentence. It's not as flow with it. It's not there yet. So look, that does it. At the end of the day, I'm grateful for what I have acquired in the 200 days. I'm still learning. My goal is to become fluent in Spanish. And I hope this could be motivation for those of you who are interested in learning a language. It doesn't have to be Spanish. Those of you who are interested in Duolingo and want to know if it really works, because Duolingo gets a lot of hate. It's crazy how much hate it gets. But had it not been for Duolingo, like this channel probably wouldn't even exist. So that does it, all right? Let us know in the comment section where you are at 100 days, at 200 days, at 500 days. You know what I mean? Let us know what resources you use. If you want to just shit on Duolingo like everybody else, put that in the comment too. Duolingo fucking sucks, whatever you want. But at least give us some game on how much Spanish you've acquired, how you acquired it, and where you are with your Spanish today. All right, so we could all benefit from it. All right, because at the end of the day, we want the same outcome. We just have different paths on getting there. Okay, so look, that does it. Like the video, comment down below, subscribe. I'm out this drawing. Peace.